Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama, libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Good afternoon to all of our learners who are currently tuned in to our ETUlay session. I am Tutor Mark and I'll be with you for English 5. So to all of our learners there watching, please make sure that you have with you your pen and paper, including your self-learning module, and I will guide you in the process of learning your session or your topic for this week's activity. So to all of our learners currently watching, please do not forget to hit like or heart if you are ready. So let's begin. So for today, we are going to have our Week 3 session for English 5. Once again, I am Tutor Mark and I'll be with you for English 5 session. And for our today's topic, we are going to discuss all about make a stand. This concept is all about you. It's all about how you are taking the responsibility in doing a certain task, that whatever you think and whatever you say, it came from you. You have a stand regarding your opinion, regarding your own words with what you have mentioned. It's either other people will agree or disagree. So for today's activity, mga bata, ang inyong tatandaan, ang aking ituturo sa inyo ay kung papaano ninyo pangangatawanan ang isang konsepto o isang ideya na inyong pinaniniwalaan. So I'll be using English and Filipino in conversation so that you will have a further grasp of this lesson. So let's have our lesson now. This activity is actually very easy. Makikita ninyo ang self-learning module na ito sa DepEd Commons entitled Make a Stand, and here are our objectives for week 3. At the end of our tutorial, you will be able to first pick an option or a side and tell why you choose it. Gaya nga ng aking binanggit kanina, I'll guide you on a process on how you learn to choose a certain stand, kung paano mo panghahawakan at yun talaga ang tama at totoo na iyong pinaniniwalaan. But of course, having the correct values in it. Second, make a stand in response to given issues or problems. My dear learners, mamaya makaka-encounter kayo ng mga situational encounters or problems at gagabayin ko kayo kung ano ba ang tamang kasagutan para dito. Third, support one stand with valid reasons. And lastly, explain why it is important to make a stand and defend one na pinaniniwalaan talaga ninyo. Tandaan, when we talk about make a stand, you need to remember na kayo ay kinakailangan panghawakan ang isang sitwasyon, ang pinaniniwalaan ninyong tama, based on your own expression, based on your own feeling, pero kinakailangan ay hindi tayo nakakapanakit ng ating kapwa. Remember, our words are very powerful. So, to dive down in our topic, let's have a short activity. I want you to choose from the options and tell why you are choosing it, okay? I want to choose only one. Look, what would you like to do? To stay at home or go out and shop? Since we now have the pandemic situation in our country and in the world, what are you going to choose? Would you like to stay home or go out and shop online? Could you please give me your answer? Ano ang mas gusto ninyo ngayong panahon na nakakaranas tayo ng pandemya? Just choose one and tell me what's your reason behind it. Would you like to stay at your home or go out and shop? According to Pastor Martinez, he would like to stay at home. Now, my question is, why would you like to stay at home? Ganon din ang sagot ni Nathaniel Habitan. Same thing goes with Dayan Tabak. If you choose stay at home, then that would be your stand. Yan ang iyong pinanghahawakan na kahit nakakaranas tayo ng pandemya sa kasalukuyan, gusto mong magstay at home. And maybe why you choose stay at home because you would like to be disconnected with other people so that you will be safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Magiging ligtas ka sa pamamaraan na ina-isolate mo ang iyong sarili at ikaw ay nanatili na lang sa iyong bahay. Many of us would like to have this option because we are afraid of having sickness. However, there might be some of you who would answer, go out and shop, isn't it? Hindi natin maiaalis na may ilan namang tao na pipiliin nilang lumabas at mag-shopping, especially if these people actually do have already or they have already a vaccine. Naturukan na sila ng vaccine para sa COVID-19 and maybe because of it ay okay na silang lumabas. So as you could see, we have different situations. May kanya-kanya tayong pinanghahawakan why we choose a certain stand. Like I have mentioned, there are some of us who would like to choose to stay at home while some will choose go out and shop. For example, with the answer of Noah Cruz, it is a safe way to protect oneself from COVID-19 if he will stay at home. Very good answer, Noah. Some of you have answered stay at home because you will be safe. And as you could see, you have a reason. Safety. For you, safety first. Safety of yourself and safety of your family. That's why your stand is to stay at home. However, for some who doesn't have enough money at home, they need to supply something for their family, then they need to go out, work, and also shop. Kaya hindi natin maiaalis na bawat tao ay may kanya-kanyang pinanghahawakan o opinyon. Now, what you did here is that you make a stand. You have an option and you defend it why you choose that option. Again, all of us do have a liberty. Kaya kung sakaling kayo ay makakarinig ng option ng inyong kapwa na hindi yun ang inyong pananaw, ano kaya sa tingin ninyo ang dapat nating gawin? It starts with letter R. Ano kayang letter R ito na kinakailangan nating gawin para ipakita natin na inuunawa natin ang kanyang piniling opsyon? What do you think is the answer online? My dear learners, if you are watching, if you think that there is a person who has an opposed idea to you, what should be done? According to Diana Tabak, respect. Very good. Same thing goes with Gracielle Joyce Beauty. You are correct. If your answer is respect, remember this, my dear learners. Once we have an option, once we have an opinion, whether you think of it as positively or negatively, remember to show respect to that person. Hindi natin kinakailangan awayin ang ating kapwa dahil siya ay may ibang stand na pinahahawakan. Just like at home, kung sakaling may ibang rason ang inyong magulang kung bakit nais nila kayo na magstay at home, then unawain, respect. And with that respect, we are showing love to our community, to our family, and also to ourselves. So if you have answered respect, very good. Now, we are done with our first activity. And with this, you have learned how to make a stand regarding your chosen option. So, let's move on. Remember, by choosing one from the options presented, you have already made a stand. Making a stand is an important skill we need to do. This means we are defending our belief, our choices, and our rights. Remember this, when we do make a stand, we are defending this, our belief, our choices, and our rights. And if we have this stand, kinakailangan panghawakan natin yon. As mentioned, it is an important skill. Pero kinakailangan, when we make a stand, it's always right and just. Everybody, repeat after me. Right and just. Importante na ang ating pananaw sa buhay ay makatao. And if that will happen, then we will have a peaceful world. Remember, showing respect with everyone. So, if ever it is considerate, nag-a-agree ka, then that's good. However, there are instances that having a stand ng isang tao ay hindi tayo sumasang-ayon, kaya nga dislike ang ating nakikita. Now that we have social media platforms and we are watching a lot of videos, some of us might think that it's good, some of us might think that that's bad. Remember, whether our opinion says that it's good or bad, it's important for us to be right and just. Have the correct respect, have the correct attitude. So, if ever nakita natin ang mga salitang, no, stop, fight for it, okay lang yun. Ang importante dito ay pinanghahawakan natin kung ano ang tapat at totoo. What is right and what is just. And that's how we make a stand. So my dear learners, if we are talking about this one, remember, all of us do have our own opinion. And when we say opinion, it tells what a person thinks about something. It cannot be described as generally true or false. Opinions are also neither right nor wrong because these are merely views, judgments, or beliefs. So tayo mga bata, kapag nagsabi na tayo ng salitang I think, ibig sabihin opinion mo na yun. Remember, kapag nabanggit mo na ngayon ang salitang I think, opinion mo na yan. But if we say our opinion, we need to make sure that we show respect to our colleague, sa ating kausap, kung paano natin ibinabahagi ang ating mga opinion. Halimbawa, kung ikaw ay tinanong na sa tingin mo, effective ba ang panonood ng telebisyon at ang online class kaysa sa face-to-face instruction? Many of us would have different opinion, isn't it? Some of you will say, I think face-to-face instruction is much better rather than having a television instruction or an online instruction. Some of us might say, I think it's more comfortable when we have an online instruction rather than going to school every day having face-to-face. Again, all of us do have our own opinion. Remember, we need to respect whatever opinion it is. And we always begin with the word, I think. So I hope you remember that. So my dear learners, if you see that there are answers which agree with the statement and also answers that disagree with it, you can be sure that whatever what was said is just an opinion. And remember, we need to show respect. So, are you ready for our activity number 2? Here, I want you to post the word agree, if you agree with the sentence or with the statement, or type down the word disagree. Okay, let me see. Number 1, face-to-face classes should be allowed in some areas with fewer COVID-19 cases. What do you think is the response of the majority? Do you agree or do you disagree? Online, can you please provide me with your response? Again, question number 1. Face-to-face classes should be allowed in some areas with fewer COVID-19 cases. Some of you might answer disagree, such as the answer of Nathaniel Habitan, Diana Tabak, Rachel Joyce Bitu, and Amir Florentino. Likewise with Christine Vasquez. Some of you might say disagree, but look, some also might answer it with agree. Okay, again, I am respecting your answer. Now, I will defend and I'll have my stand. I agree to have a face-to-face classes that should be allowed in some areas with fewer COVID-19 cases because these areas do have already a controlled environment. Yun ay aking opinion. Hindi ba't ang opinion na yun ay pwedeng hindi kayo maniwala? At sa pamamagitan nun, meron ilan sa inyo na sasagot ng disagree. Did you get what I mean? It means that when we make a stand, there is no wrong or correct answer. It's all about how we defend our stand. And I will not question your answer if ever you choose disagree. That's why, remember with this activity, when we make a stand, there is no correct or wrong answer. Everything boils down on how we respect the stand of a person. And here in number 1, sinadya ko na sagutin ng agree. Dahil nakikinita-kinita ko na marami sa inyo ang sasagot naman ng disagree. Because why do you disagree? Some people would say, hey, Tutor Mark, having a face-to-face classes and we have COVID-19 situation, you might put down the learners and teachers in risk of having sickness, especially if they don't have the vaccine. O di ba? Kaya kayo nagdi-disagree. Kung nakikita ninyo, may opinion ang mga sumagot ng agree at may sumagot naman na opinion din sa kanilang pagsabi ng disagree. But at the end of the day, remember, our stand is always putting respect to whatever we choose. Whether you agree to the opinion or you disagree to the opinion. Nakuha ba yun mga bata? Again, there is no correct or incorrect answer. It's just a matter how you're going to defend your opinion. Did you get it? If you say yes, hit like or heart. We move on to number 2. Fruits and vitamin C are helpful in boosting the immune system. What do you think is the answer? If you choose agree, which I think the majority will say, then I would agree on to you. But if you try to look at it, fruits and vitamin C are helpful in boosting the immune system. Some of us would say, Tutor Mark, I think I disagree. If they disagree, maybe they have another opinion on how to boost the immune system. Baka mamaya, yung mga tinitake pala nila na ito ay immunocompromised sa kanila o hindi tinatanggap ng kanilang katawan. they might have allergens with it. Nakuha ninyo ako mga learners? Again, uulitin ko sa number 2 ha. Ako ang sagot ko agree. Bakit? Dahil naniniwala ako na ang fruits at vitamin C ay magpapalakas ng aking immune system. However, we are talking about other people who might have allergens o may allergy sa iba't ibang klase ng prutas o kahit sa vitamin C. And if that is the case, they will answer disagree. Did you get what I mean? If yes, hit like or heart. As you could see here, paulit-ulit kong ipinapaliwanag na walang maling sagot sa pag-agree o sa pag-disagree. Ang importante dito ay inirerespeto natin ang opinyon ng isang tao. Kung saan ipinapakita at inuunawa natin kung saan sila nagdaraan. Kung ano ang kanilang pinagdaraanan. Just like what I have given as an example for number 2. Why some people would answer it with disagree. Did you get it? If you say yes, hit like or heart. Moving on. Number 3. Online classes must be applied to areas with high internet connection. What do you think is the answer for number 3? Would you think you agree or disagree? Online, give me your answer. Ang ganda ng question sa number 3, no? Online classes must be applied to areas with high internet connection. Would you agree to it or disagree? According to Chloe Bundok, sabi niya disagree. Some have answered agree. Tignan nga natin. Ito ay stand ko ha, take note. The one that I am reflecting as an answer is just my stand. Hindi ko sinasabing yon ang correct answer dahil sabi ko nga, walang correct answer or wrong answer sa paggawa ng stand. Nasa importansya ito ng pagpapaliwanag at pagbibigay ng iyong respeto sa pag-unawa sa opinyon ng iyong kapwa. For number 3, I will agree. Why? This is my reason. I think online classes must be only applied to areas with high internet connection because if there is low frequency or low bandwidth, then it always buffer. It is a hindrance for the learners to learn. Yun ang aking rason kung bakit ako nag-a-agree. Pero may iba, kagaya kanina, na nagsabing I disagree. Because when we talk about online classes, there are instances that there are children who still would like to have it even their internet connection is very low. Kinukuha nila sa tiyaga. Sabi nga, sa tiyaga, may nilaga. Again, there are different concepts with it. Ang ating kinakailangan lang gawin ay paniwalaan, ang ating pinaniniwalaang opinyon, have a stand on it, at irespeto ang opinyon ng ating kapwa. So as you could see here for number 3, some of you have answered agree, but there are some who answered disagree. I hope you get it. Next, number 4. Children should wear face masks when going out. Okay. In number 4, will you agree or you disagree? For me, if I will be asked, I think children should go out wearing face masks. Agree ang aking nilagay. But there are some who would say, I disagree. I disagree that children should wear face masks when going out because I don't want them to go out. O, di ba? Kasi yung isang opinion na nagsasabi ng disagree ay para mong sinasabi na ay pwede lang lumabas ang mga bata basta naka-face mask. O, di ba? Kaya hindi natin maiiwasan na may mga magulang na magsasabi ng agree at disagree. Balikan natin. Nag-a-agree ang magulang na pwedeng lumabas ang bata basta magsuot ng face mask. Eh yung isang namang magulang na bakit natin bibigyan ng motibo na magsuot ng face mask para lumabas? Eh ayaw ko nga silang lumabas. Bawal lumabas. Did you get it? So, with this item for number 4, again, we might have different answers or options. Some of us might say agree and some might say disagree. We move on to number 5. Instead of going out, spend more time on backyard gardening. Oh, yung mga plantito at plantita na inyong mga nanay at tatay kasama ang inyong mga kuya, ate, tito, tita, lola at lola. Ano sa tingin niyo? Will you agree onto it or will you disagree? For item number 5, choose your answer. If I will be asked, I'll answer agree. Why? Because it's also a leisure. It's more healthy. And libre. O, di ba? Yun ang aking opinion. I think instead of going out, it's important for them to stay at home and do this backyard gardening. Why? Because their health is at risk, especially if they are senior citizens. While some of you might disagree because you will say, hey, life is so short. We only live once. O di ba may ibang ganun ang sinasabi ng ating mga kabataan. Kaya instead of having only the backyard gardening, they want to go out. They want to venture out. They want to have an adventure. Again, going back, remember what I have mentioned. When we talk about opinions or choosing a stand, always respect whether they choose, agree, or disagree. The important thing is that how you make that stand. How will you express your opinion and your examples? I hope you get it. Now, moving on. Remember this, my dear learners, a fact is a statement that can be verified or proven true by objective means. We can use records, experimentation, or observation to verify the statement. When we give our opinions, we always state facts. Bakit? Halimbawa, ayokong lumabas kasi nakakahawa yung COVID-19. That's a fact. However, there might have some of you who will say, ay, bakit naman ang mga pulubi? Bakit ang mga taong grasa wala naman nababalitang nagkaka-COVID-19? Again, that statement now is not a fact. That is an opinion. An opinion is a statement that cannot be verified by objective means. It can express a person's feelings about an idea or situation. It can also express a judgment or a valid prediction based on facts. However, an opinion is valid only if facts are stated to support it. Remember that, my dear learners. Kaya, tandaan natin, di ba, kung tayo ay nagsasabi ng ating opinion, di ba, ang laging kadugtong nun lagi, si ganito eh. We always stating different facts. Importante iyon para mapanghawakan ang ating sinasabing mga stand. Remember the difference between fact and opinion. So my dear learners, if you are following our track, siguraduhin ninyo na nauunawaan ninyo na kapag sinabi nating making a stand, alam mo kaagad kung ano ang iyong sasabihin. Kung ito ba ay patungo sa pagsasabi ng katotohanan or fact o opinionated ang inyong mga sinasabi. We need to be very objective. And when we say this stand, sometimes it can imitate, it can replicate, and it can influence other people. Sa paanong paraan? Hindi ba kapag nakarinig tayo ng sinasabi ng isang artista o ng ating favorite actor o yung ating iniidolo, di ba ang bilis nating maniwala? Bakit? Because they can influence us. Remember, any stand can influence us. And that is the reason why when we watch the television at papalapit na ang kampanya o papalapit na ang tinatawag natin na elections, have you noticed that many of our politicians do have a link with celebrities? Because these celebrities do have a so-called magnet touch, kung saan sila ay nakakapag-persuade o naiengganyo din nila ang mga tao para paniwalaan ang sinasabi ng kanilang manok na politiko. O yung sinasabi natin na, yung kaibigan mo, uy, iboto nyo to kasi kaibigan ko to, mabait to. Naniniwala tayo doon sa mga sinasabi. That is having a stand. But remember, having a stand of a certain person, we need to be very objective. Or else, ang mangyayari sa atin ay magiging sunod-sunuran tayo. That's why, in this topic, it's important for us to defend what is right and what is just. So, you need to remember these key concepts on how you're going to defend your ideas and make a stand. You can write it down in your notebook. Number 1, be prepared. Whenever you propose an idea, there will certainly be people who may not agree with you. In short, mga bata, kapag tayo ay nagsasabi ng ating opinyon sa ating mga kagrupo o ating mga kaibigan, always make it a point that you are prepared. Na hindi lahat ng iyong sinasabi ay paniniwalaan ng iba. For example, isn't it that when Noah have mentioned before in the story in the Bible that God will make a great flood? Many people just laugh at Noah. Isn't it that hindi sila naniwala kahit na ito ay sinasabi ni Noah? Yun ang ibig kong sabihin dito sa number 1. We need to be prepared because even if we think that this one will be very helpful to a group of people, to a certain group, or sa isang tao, ating tatandaan na hindi natin hawak ang kanilang pag-iisip. So we need to remember that we need to be prepared. Kahit na kaibigan natin yan, kahit na close friend natin yan, there will always come a time that your idea will be opposing to their concept or to their idea. And they will say, disagree ako sa sinabi mo at huwag sasama ang loob. Sabi nga natin kanina, respect. But you need to be prepared. If you understand that, hit like or heart. We move on to the second thing. Number 2, you need to be generous. Compliment others for the constructive feedback they are offering. Ano yung ibig sabihin nito? Matuto tayo na magsabi ng, hey, your idea is great. However, ganon ang linyahan kung sakaling hindi ka naniniwala. Huwag mong sabihin kaagad na, hey, that's not correct, that's wrong. Hindi nyo pwedeng sabihin kaagad mga bata yung, dahil hindi ka naniniwala sa sinasabi niya, sasabihin mo kaagad, you're wrong. That is an incorrect behavior. The best way to do is to be generous. How? Pakinggan ako ha. Kunyari, hindi ka naniniwala sa kanyang sinasabi. The best way to do is to have this starting statement or this line. You know, your idea is great. However, you might consider my opinion. Nakuha ninyo? Sa pamamagitan nun, ibinibigay mo creatively ang iyong konsepto, kinongratulate mo pa siya. Sinabi mo, uy, ang ganda ng konsepto mo, pero pakinggan mo ang konsepto ko, baka mas maganda. Hindi ka nagbo-boast, but you are saying something to complement constructively dun sa sinabi ng iyong kapwa. Remember, do it in a nice way. Samahan nyo na rin ng smile. Kasi baka mamaya sinasabi mo nga yun, yung kilay mo nakataas, may body language ka na hindi maganda. Kinakailangan akma sa iyong facial expression, sa iyong body language, yung pagsasabi. Hindi yung parang nang iinis ang itsura. Okay? So I hope nakuha po yun. Importante rin na yung ating tono, pag tayo ay nagsasalita, ay hindi matalim. Alam niyo ibig sabihin ng hindi matalim? Yung parang nagsasabi ka ng, are you sure that what you are saying is true? You are sizing up the person. Dapat hindi ganon. Remember that your tone is always good, polite. Okay? So remember number 2, you need to be very generous para iwas away. Pero nagiging creative ka sa pagde-defend ng iyong opinion. Number 3, be patient. Few, if any, will embrace your idea. For example, our government, DOH, is appealing that, hey, you need to take the vaccine. Kinakailangan kung ikaw ang nagsasabi nun, you need to be very patient because some people are just afraid because of certain news or certain information that is circulating, kaya natatakot sila. Remember, any misinformation can reflect to a person's opinion and what they are believe in at o kung saan sila naniniwala. Kaya kung tayo ay nagsasabi ng ating stand, kinakailangan patient tayo dahil pwedeng ang ating sinabi ay kaunti lang ang maniniwala. Remember, it always take time. And we need to show or showcase quality output. Kapag nakita naman ng mga hindi sumusunod na epektibo pala ang vaccine, then sila mismo ang voluntarily na magpapavaccine because they have seen it effectively. So remember my dear learners, ito ay mga halimbawa na aking ibinibigay, real life scenarios on how we are going to defend our ideas and how to make a stand. Get it? Again, at the end of the day, showing respect. Number 4, don't take things personally. You know, my dear learners, ito ang mahirap, especially if you have good friends opposing your idea. Halimbawa, ito, bigyan ko na example sa akin ha. I have very close friends asking me, Sir Mark, sino binoto mo noong nakarang eleksyon? At nung sinabi ko yung binoto ko, hindi yun ang binoto niya, nag-away kami. Kasi sinabi niya sa akin, ay, bakit yan ang pinili mo? Bobo ka ba? So yung mga paggamit ng mga salitang ganon, yung bobo, mahina, we should avoid that. Dapat alisin natin yun dahil nakakasama yun ng loob ng isang tao. Remember, my dear learners, we need always to show respect to our colleagues, kahit yan ay close friend natin. But we need to take it in a note na huwag nating papersonalin ang mga bagay-bagay, gaya ng pagsasabi ng opinion natin na magiging dahilan para masira ang inyong pakikipagkaibigan sa isa't isa. Remember, always show respect to the opinion of your colleague, of your friend, dahil sa pamamagitan nun na ipapakita nyo ang pagmamahal sa kanila. At the end of the day, even if you have an opposing idea, you are still friends. Get it? And lastly, number 5, ang paulit-ulit ko sinasabi, show respect. If you have these 5 magic components, then you are ready to make a stand. Online, are you ready to make a stand? Sabi nga ni Noah Cruz, yes, don't take things personally. Aral lang. Tama. Kaya sa pagtutok natin dito sa ating online ETUlay tutorial, some of you would say or some people would say, ano ba yan? Bakit nagkakaroon pa ng online ETUlay? Meron namang mga teachers na nagtuturo. Again, that is his or her opinion. On the other side, there might be some learners, teachers, or parents who would say, ay, thank you at merong ETUlay kasi natutulungan kami para maunawaan ang lesson. At bukod doon, pwede naming ulit-ulitin at mabalikan dahil pwede itong i-download. So we have a lot of concepts, but we should not battle out our opinion. We can express it generously, but we need to be prepared if ever our friend o yung kausap natin has an opposing idea. Get it? If you say yes, hit like or heart. Moving on. We now have our activity number 3. Dito, titignan natin kung kayo ay mag-a-agree or hindi. Online, ready na ba kayo? Study the following pictures. These pictures are all related to pandemic. Look, in this picture, what description can you tell? If your answer is, the kid is wearing face mask all the time, then that might be a good description. Now, will you agree to it or disagree? Online, mag-a-agree ba kayo dito sa ating statement na the kid is wearing face mask all the time? If your answer is agree, then you are correct. Then, some of you might say, why? He wanted to be protected against COVID-19. With this, nakikita ninyo sa isang description, ang opinyon ng isang tao ay napanghahawakan ng kanyang stand. Gusto niyang magsuot ng face mask dahil ayaw niyang magkasakit. If that is the case, we need to respect that. However, if that person is in the community, then we need to show respect to other people. You need to wear the mask. Why? It only shows that you respect the health concerns of everybody. Kaya kapag kayo ay nasa labas, magsuot ng face mask at face shield. Agree? Then, we move on to the second example. Is it good that this picture shows a kid washing his hand? According to Nathaniel Habitan, agree because it will make us protected to the pandemic. Very good. Because in this description, the kid is washing his hands properly. And all of you say, agree. What is the reason behind it? He wanted to make his hands clean all the time. Kasi alam nga natin, ang proper hand washing ay isang paraan para maiwasan ang COVID-19. Would you agree? I think all of you would say yes. That is a fact. Moving on. You could see here 2 children, or you can see here children talking with each other. The description that we could say is that the boys are talking closely without any face mask and face shield. Ngayon, eto sa description na aking inilagay, will you agree or disagree now that we have the pandemic situation? I'm sure most of you would say, I disagree onto it. Why? Because they are not mindful about their actions. Remember, if you are not mindful with your actions, some of you will say, uy, disagree ako dyan. Kasi dapat gumagamit ng face mask at face shield. That's why, in our example here, especially if you are going to talk someone outside, it is a must, it is necessary to do these things. So, to Lorna Basmayor Manangkil, sabi niya, I disagree. Tama. Now, moving on to the next idea. In this picture, there are siblings. But look, they are outside of their home. Nasa labas sila. So, kung nasa labas sila ng bahay, etong description kong nilagay. The siblings are staying outside. Would you think you agree or disagree onto these things? According to Art Lou Magbitang and March De Pedro, same thing goes with Dirk Zilis, Eleuterio, I hope na-mention ko ng tama, sabi nila disagree. Why? Of course, if they are staying outside at napakabata nila, they must stay indoors to prevent having a disease since airborne ang COVID-19. Isn't it? So with these things na aking binabanggit, lagi tayong pumapasok dun sa konsepto na kapag may opinion tayo, meron tayong pinanghahawakan na factual idea kung bakit tayo nagdi-disagree. Remember, you are making a stand. Next, with this picture, we have a kid studying at home. My description, the boy is doing his assignment. Would you agree or disagree? I'm sure all of you will say, I agree onto it. Siyempre, kapag merong assignment, gawin mo, di ba? Now, why is it necessary? He needs to finish his assignment so he can submit it on time. And many of us would do it. However, there are some who will cram, isn't it? At ayaw natin ang practice na yon. Sa pamamagitan nito, we make our stand. And I'm happy with it because with a lot of examples that we did, nakuha ninyo ang konsepto. Now, for my last question, for the last activity. If you will be given a chance to be one of the representatives to raise the opinions for the conduct of classes during this time of pandemic in our country, what will be your stand about this controversial issue? Would you like to have a face-to-face classes or have an online classes? Online. Give me your answer. O eto na ang pagkakataon yung marinig. Ano ang gusto nyo? Face-to-face classes? Bakit? Online classes? Bakit? I-type na ang inyong sagot at aking babasahin yan mamaya-maya. If I will be asked, if I'm going to be a representative giving my opinion about the situation, this could be my answer. I choose online classes. The COVID-19 pandemic is not yet resolved in our country and not all learners and teachers got a vaccine. It will be safer for learners to stay indoors. Yan ay isang opinyon kung sakaling ang pinili niya ay online class. Siya ay nag-defend ng kanyang opinyon. Get it? Some of you might say, I choose to have face-to-face classes. There are areas which has zero COVID-19 case. The learners in those respective areas must go to school. In addition, having fast internet is a big problem in our country. So dito, makikita ninyo na parang nagkaroon ng debate yung dalawang nag-uusap. At yan ang pwedeng mangyari. Pero ang ating tatandaan, we need to respect the opinion of other people. So in here, Christine Vasquez, Janina Rose, same thing with Chloe Bundok, and Mark Luis Ocaso, they have answered online classes. While March Pedro, same thing goes with sa kanya lang ang nakita ko. March De Pedro, Emily Shoko have answered face-to-face classes. Marahil, ang kanilang pinaniniwalaan din, zero case sa amin, talagang walang COVID. At yan ang paraan kung paano natin iintindihin ang pagbuo ng isang decision by making a stand. I hope with our activity today, you have learned that making a stand is showing respect. There's no wrong or correct answer to it. It's just a matter of putting our respect, being prepared to the response of our colleagues or friends, that whatever opinion we have, there is always two sides, whether they will agree or they will disagree. And I hope natutunan ninyo ang ating paksa sa araw na ito. Again, I am Tutor Mark na makakasama ninyo para sa English 5. Maraming salamat at paalam!
Magandang araw! Ako po si Sir Ariel, ang ALS lover ng Edtech Unit. Narito po ako para sa isang napakagandang balita at upang magpaalala na ang kinabukasan ay mas gaganda at uunlad kung ang lahat ay patuloy na mag-aaral. Sa edukasyon sa ating bansa, tiyak na walang maiiwanan sa pag-abot ng mga pangarap. Kaya naman ang Department of Education ICT's Educational Technology Unit at Alternative Learning System Task Force ay nagtutulungan sa pagkakaroon ng ALS Tech Empowerment Program upang maihatid ang excellent quality education sa ating mga ALS learner and teachers. To easily deliver the lessons from the modules and other references, we will provide tablet PC as part of the DepEd computerization program to all ALS teachers and orientation on the use of these packages. To deepen the pedagogical use of information and communications and technology in delivering instructions, there are training workshops on the use and curation of open educational resources or OER, Google and Microsoft productivity tools, creation of video lessons using PowerPoint presentations and KineMaster, and on ebook or e-magazine development. To create an avenue for remedial lessons that is open to all learners, teachers, and parents, we will have the ETUlay free online tutorial and mobile ETUlay, where we will visit remote schools to feature the best practices of our ALS teachers and learners. Sa mga out-of-school youth and adult, laging tatandaan na may pag-asa upang makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral. May ALS para sa inyo. Ang edukasyon ay para sa lahat. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.